What you're about to hear is one of those stories that shows how complex and tense security issues remain in parts of the country. Reports coming out of Kaduna State suggest that residents of Kauru Local Government Area have witnessed a major development involving armed groups that have troubled nearby communities for years. According to local accounts, more than 70 bandits were killed and several criminal hideouts were destroyed during a coordinated operation in the area. This situation has been generating quiet but serious conversations among people living in and around Kauru because it touches directly on safety, survival, and the long-running struggle against insecurity. While details are still emerging, what residents are confirming points to a significant shift in what has been happening in that part of the region. Before we go further, if you find updates like this important, please take a moment to like this video, share it with others who want to stay informed, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment with your thoughts. Your engagement really helps these conversations reach more people. Now, let's break down what is being reported, carefully and clearly. Kauru Local Government Area is one of the places in southern Kaduna that has, over time, faced repeated threats from armed groups operating in remote areas and nearby forests. These groups have been blamed by locals for attacks on villages, kidnapping, and disrupting farming and daily life. Many residents have lived with fear for years, often relying on early warnings and community cooperation to stay safe. According to accounts from residents and community sources, the recent incident happened after sustained pressure on these criminal groups. Reports indicate that security forces, possibly working with local intelligence and community support, moved against bandits who were believed to be hiding in known camps around parts of the area. During this operation, several hideouts were reportedly destroyed and a large number of the bandits were killed. It's important to say this clearly. There has not yet been a single detailed official report that breaks down every aspect of what happened. That is why careful language matters here. What we know so far comes mainly from residents who say they saw the aftermath, heard the exchanges, and noticed a sudden calm in places that were once dangerous. According to these local accounts, the scale of the operation was larger than what they had seen in a long time. For people living in Kauru and nearby communities, this development matters deeply. Insecurity there has not just been about headlines. It has affected school attendance, farming seasons, local markets, and even simple things like traveling to visit relatives. Many families have had to abandon farmlands or restrict their movements because of fear of attacks. So, when residents say several criminal hideouts were destroyed, it suggests a possible disruption of the networks that made these attacks possible. How did it happen? Based on what residents are saying, the operation appears to have been targeted rather than random. Criminal camps are usually hidden in hard-to-reach areas, often taking advantage of forests and rough terrain. Successfully locating and dismantling them often requires good intelligence, patience, and coordination. That's why many locals believe this operation may have relied heavily on information gathered over time, possibly with help from people who understand the terrain very well. Another reason this story is drawing attention is the reported number of bandits killed. If the figures being mentioned are accurate, it would represent one of the more significant blows to armed groups in that part of Kaduna State in recent times. However, it's also important to stay grounded and cautious. Numbers can change as more information becomes available, and official confirmation is still important for a complete picture. Beyond the numbers, there is the question of what happens next. In many parts of the country, residents have seen situations where a successful operation brings temporary relief only for insecurity to return weeks or months later. That's why some people in Kauru are reportedly hopeful but careful. They welcome the development, but they also want to see sustained efforts that ensure the area remains safe. This moment also raises broader questions about security across the region. When criminal hideouts are destroyed in one area, it can sometimes push surviving members of such groups to move elsewhere. That's why coordination across neighboring communities and local government areas is crucial. People are watching closely to see whether there will be increased patrols, follow-up operations, and support for affected villages. For local farmers, this development could mean a chance to return to their land with less fear. Farming is the backbone of many communities in southern Kaduna, and insecurity has disrupted food production and income for years. If the area truly becomes safer, it could help restore confidence and improve livelihoods, even if gradually. There is also a human side to this story that often goes unspoken. Many residents have lived through trauma, displacement, and loss. Hearing that bandit camps have been dismantled can bring relief, but it can also reopen painful memories. That's why community healing, dialogue, and support remain just as important as security operations. At the same time, Responsible reporting means avoiding celebration or glorification of violence. Loss of life, no matter the side, is serious. What matters most to ordinary people is safety, stability, and the chance to live normal lives without fear. That is the lens through which this development should be viewed. As more information comes out, it will be important to listen to verified updates from authorities and credible local sources. Residents' voices are valuable, but official clarity helps prevent rumors and misinformation. In situations like this, patience and careful attention to facts are key. If you're watching from outside Kaduna State, this story still matters to you. Insecurity in one region often has ripple effects on others, whether through displacement, economic impact, or national policy decisions. Understanding what's happening in places like Kauru helps paint a clearer picture of the country's broader security challenges. We'll continue to monitor this situation closely and share updates as they become available. If you have thoughts on this development, or if you're from the area and want to share what you know respectfully and safely, feel free to drop a comment. And once again, don't forget to like this video, share it with others, subscribe to the channel, and join the conversation in the comments. Staying informed together makes a difference. Looking ahead, one of the biggest questions on people's minds is whether this operation marks a turning point or just a temporary calm. In areas that have dealt with armed groups for a long time, trust is built slowly. Residents often wait to see consistent changes before believing that things have truly improved. For Kauru Local Government Area, the coming days and weeks will be very important. Reports from local accounts suggest that movement around some communities has already started to feel different. People say there is less tension on certain roads and fewer warnings being passed around about suspicious activity. These are small signs, but for communities that have lived under fear, even small changes can feel significant. Still, many residents are choosing to remain cautious, especially at night or when traveling far from their homes. Another important part of this story is the role of cooperation. In many successful security efforts, information from locals plays a quiet but crucial role. People who know the land, the footpaths, and unusual movements are often the first to notice when something is wrong. While details are not confirmed, residents believe that community cooperation may have helped security forces locate the hideouts that were destroyed. This highlights how trust between communities and authorities can make a real difference. There is also the issue of displaced families. Over the years, insecurity has forced some people to leave their homes, either temporarily or permanently. If the area becomes safer, questions will arise about return, rebuilding, and support. Returning home after violence is not easy. Homes may be damaged, farms abandoned, and livelihoods disrupted. Long-term peace requires more than operations. It needs planning, support, and dialogue. For young people in the area, sustained peace could change a lot. Many youths have grown up knowing nothing but fear, restrictions, and limited opportunities because of insecurity. Schools have been affected, and movement has often been unsafe. A more secure environment could open doors to education, farming, small businesses, and a sense of normalcy that has been missing for years. At the same time, it's important to understand that armed banditry is a complex problem. It is connected to poverty, lack of opportunities, and weak systems in some rural areas. While dismantling hideouts is necessary to protect lives, lasting solutions often require addressing these deeper issues. This is something many analysts and community leaders continue to point out. People across Kaduna State and beyond are watching closely to see how authorities respond after this development. Will there be increased security presence to prevent regrouping? Will communities receive support to rebuild and move forward? These follow-up actions matter just as much as the operation itself. As more official statements emerge, they will help clarify what exactly took place and what steps are being taken next. Until then, it's wise to rely on careful reporting and avoid spreading unverified claims. Situations like this can easily be misunderstood or exaggerated, especially on social media. For now, residents of Kauru Local Government Area are holding on to cautious hope. The reported destruction of criminal hideouts and the heavy losses suffered by bandit groups could signal a moment of relief after years of fear. Whether that relief lasts will depend on what happens next. If you've been following this story, or if you have thoughts on how communities and authorities can work together to improve safety, feel free to share your views in the comments. Conversations like this help keep attention on the issues that matter. Please remember to like the video, share it with others who want clear and balanced updates, subscribe to the channel, and stay connected for more information as this story develops. Staying informed is one of the best tools we all have.